GW's posted some new win rates, and they show a new army on the rise. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. As always, my name is Jay, and as always, I like to analyze the win rates when they're posted by Games Workshop. They posted another set. They usually post them every couple months. And yeah, so let's go over them today, of course, and discuss what they mean. A lot of people believe that it's the sign of a new army will take the throne overall of best army in the game. It could happen. I'll talk maybe about that in a future video as well. But Eldar are still at the top of the food chain. Of course, they've been at the top since the beginning. But that being said, they got hit with a bunch of nerfs recently. Especially the Fate dice. Now they can only do 6 at the beginning unless they take some other certain characters, and they removed the restraint that you can use it only one at a time. But still, they really went after Eldar because they should. Their Eldar are above the sweet spot as always. They're 56% still, and they're out of the Goldilocks zone. Right, the whole goal of Games Workshop is to keep armies within the 45% to 55% win rates, and this balanced data slate, they really went after Eldar, Chaos Space Marines a lot as well, and they really tried to bump up Drukhari. So Drukhari got a new detachment, which I think will bring them really up. But let's talk about the win rates, shall we, that were published. First of all, 2 armies are outside of the win rate, the Goldilocks zone. The rest of them are in it, which is cool. The 2 armies above the Goldilocks zone are Eldari, surprise, at 56%, and Necrons, also at 56%. Necrons represented the biggest jump overall between win rates. They went up by 8 full percent. Last time they were only at 48%. Now they're at 56%. That's huge. That's a huge jump between versions. They got a new codex. There's a couple really strong detachments with a couple really strong models in these detachments. That's why they're winning so much, right? And people believe Necrons are going to be taking over the top spot in the game because the Eldari got heavily nerfed in the most recent balanced data slate. Necrons didn't. So maybe it's their time to shine, to bring down the Eldar as the top dog, right? Besides that, a couple things about this numbers. They didn't have Black Templars or World Eaters in there, so I couldn't compare them. I assume Black Templars were doing well, because last time they were at 55%. They're not in the numbers today, which I found a little odd. Same with World Eaters. World Eaters were at 51% last time, not in this number. So let's go over the rest of them. As I mentioned, Eldari and Necrons are at 56%. Eldari went from 57 to 56, and Necrons went way up from 48 to 56%. Huge increases. Chaos Space Marines are at 54%, but that being said, once again, they just got hit with a lot of nerfs in this balanced data slate. A lot of people feel that they much like they did with the Imperial Knights and the Genestealer cult at the beginning of the edition, they really hit Chaos Space Marines hard in this balanced data slate recently, and it's going to bring down their win rates as well. Votann dropped from 55 to 54% as well. Chaos Knights, 52% still. Orcs, 53 to 52%, so a minus 1% decrease. Space Wolves went up from 49 to 52%, which is cool. Adeptus Sororitas went up from 48 to 51%, so a 3% increase as well. And Thousand Sons went from 49 to 51%. Death Guard stayed at 50, so 50-50 Army Death Guard, awesome. So I want to start a couple things here. So now we're done the 50-50 win rates. So what you're going to notice is the majority of the armies actually win less than 50% of the time on average. So once again, they're extending the tail more towards the loser side. There are more armies that lose more games than they win. And I don't like that trend. It's because several armies like to beat up on the rest of them, as you can see by these numbers. So let's continue though. So Space Marines in general went from 48 to 48%, so no change there. Tau, 50 to 48%, so they went down by 2%. Dark Angels went from 48 to 47%, so minus 1% change. Genestealer Cult 50 to 47, so 3% drop as well. They're just continuing to drop since they're heavily nerfed. They were heavily nerfed at the beginning of the edition, right? They overcompensated just like they did with the Chaos Space Marines. That were kind of happened to the Genestealer Cult earlier in this edition. Admech went from 48 to 46%. Chaos Demons 48 to 46% as well, so 2% drop. Deathwatch stayed the same at 46. Grey Knights went from 47 to 46. And Astra Militarum 46 to 45. Blood Angels 47 to 45%, so 2% drop there too. Drukhari went up from 44 to 45%, so they're now actually in the Goldilocks zone, but now they got their cool new detachment, which a lot of people are making videos on. Seems interesting. Imperial Knights dropped from 47 to 45%, and Tyranids dropped from 48% to 45%. And so basically, a bunch of armies are now hovering at the very bottom of the Goldilocks zone. And if you look at them, Tyranids, one of the newest codices, not doing amazingly. It's really near the bottom. Shows that the codex was not broken by any means. And Imperial Knights, they started out strong, and then GW really hit the rules, and the bonding, they should fix the bonding. That alone would bring them back up to a much closer to 50-50 win rate. Fix the bonding, you know, as I said, there were some updates recently, but we'll go over that after in a future video. But that's it. So a few things. Number one, no World Eaters, no Black Templar. Very curious about that. Number two, you're going to notice that most of the armies lose more than they win, because they're getting picked on by Eldari, Necrons, and Chaos Space Marines and Voton at the moment. But again, balanced data slates will take a while to balance. There were a lot of nerfs that just were announced. More armies went down than went up. You'll find that more armies stayed the same or went down. A few armies did go up, and Necrons really went up. They went up 8%, 48% to 56% win rates, and now they're above that Goldilocks zone, which is huge. Besides that, as I said, I still feel that more armies are losing more than they're winning. Sure, they're in the Goldilocks zone, which is great. It does show that, you know, between versions that a lot of armies are vying for top or near the top, and they're dropping. There's constant movements. Eldari obviously have been in the top since the beginning, and it looks like they might be starting to drop now that they've been heavily nerfed, which is way overdue in my opinion. I don't know. But what do you think? What do you think about these win rates? What do you think about your armies? Which armies do you think are really affected by the latest balanced data slates? I'll be making some videos on that in the near future. What do you think about the new win rates? Let's create a discussion in the comment section down below. Do you think GW is working well to balance these? Do you trust the data? What do you think? Please like this video, comment in the comment section down below, and subscribe to my channel if you already haven't done so. Please hit that bell so every time I make a video, you get to see it. And stay tuned for more videos about these data slates and the balance, the winning armies and everything. Until next time, this is Jay saying happy painting your armies.